Welcome back. I'm running an experiment right now to see just how little prep I can get away with and still have an effective game session. This is a part of my exploration into what it'll take for me to improve my imagination, think quickly on my feet, and adjust what I'm doing to what the characters are doing. Adjust my world to respond in a very quick fashion to how the players are interacting with it. You'll notice the background's a little different. We've taken a bit of a pause from our Weird Frontiers game. Last week we did a Savage Worlds setting in space. It was kind of like The Expanse. It was set in the Jovian system, so you've got Jupiter behind, and it was fun. We had a great time. I have to say that for all of its drawbacks, and there are several, Savage Worlds is a very, very fun game. Now, I say that because I like a lot of things about it. And some of the things I enjoy about it that it does really well are also things that are perhaps not completely antithetical to my desire to be a better role player, more immersive. It's just it's hard to stay in character and do all of these different things with the system. And we're gonna continue to work on it. I think that we can improve in several ways, especially as it pertains to bennies and how those are handled. I think that players, once they get their feet underneath them a little more, and they understand the various things they can do with that game resource, that meta currency, then hopefully I can just trust them that they can just do it. And I don't have to remind them. I don't have to ask them or raise eyebrows or anything like that. They'll just do it. So changing settings to changing game system. And the whole goal behind this is really to cause me to stretch more in the imagination front. I would love to get to a point where I can just riff on whatever it is that the players are doing in that world, and then have it be believable, but also unexpected. And so one of the things that I've tried, and I've just made myself a few notes here. I've got a little clipboard. Look at that. Wow. As I'm asking myself this question, what can I do to improve my imagination? How can I practice this? Because I think it's really important. If I want to become a pro at improvisation in the moment, in the setting, and keeping the setting internally consistent, I have to work at this. I have to practice. So one of the things that I've changed a little bit before, and I think this is, generally speaking, it's good advice. If you're setting up an encounter or a conflict for your game, I used to do this, and you would think, okay, there's got to be more than one solution to this conflict. Otherwise, it risks being not only very limiting in player agency, because you have to just do this one thing. In order to win the game, you have to do this one. I'm just looking for this one answer. I'm just looking for this one action. And so I recognize that as probably poor preparation. And so I would spend some time thinking about how I could have other unexpected things. Is there something else I could be like? This is the classic, as you say, well, you can either fight the enemies, or you can do this, or you can do that, I'm trying something new though. And what I'm trying, and I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to stay with it and see how it goes. I'm not thinking at all about how the problem can be solved. Instead, I'm just coming up with the initial problem and then letting the players explore what the potential solutions can be, and then just adjusting on the fly. I have to admit, it does feel a little uncomfortable at times, because I'm coming prepared to the game with nothing much in front of me, like just a few pages and some thoughts that I've had about others that will be in, at least initially, which will be in the scene. And what are their motivations, and what's the secret, and those kind of things. But I'm also trying to remain flexible enough when it comes to the secrets and the non-player characters that I'll introduce, because I'd like to get to the point where my imagination is strong enough and that I can just I can just invent something on the fly. And the advantage of Savage Worlds, again, I mentioned it does have disadvantages. I'm not going to just pretend that it's the perfect game. There is no such thing as the perfect game. But the one thing it does have going for it is it's very, very easy to create opponents, other characters in the world on the fly. It's a system that's simple enough that it can do that. They can quickly be dropped in and provide an interesting foil to the hero's plans. So it's been fun. Now, that was a one shot last week. It just so happened in the one shot they kind of failed the mission that they were going to do. There were some things that happened that they hadn't anticipated. And so I asked them, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay with this? What kind of things do we think we would? That was just a one shot. Those were all pre-generated characters. I do, as much as pre-generated characters have their place, I much prefer to have player buy-in. So, and I think you get better. Well, my experience has been that when players think of their character, what they want to play, then there's hopefully more chance that they'll really get into that character's head, that they can pretend better if they were involved in the creation of the character. As much as it was kind of fun for me to think of this, and it's I will probably use pre-gen characters in the future. I would much prefer to have players create their own. That's just a better way of going, I think, overall. So that's what I'm working on. It's a different type of preparation. It's not the same preparation as I've done in the past. I'm just trying to work on that imagination muscle, just getting that to the point where I can be very quick on my feet and players can not feel like, oh, he's inventing something now. I don't want that. I think that's actually detrimental if your players just know, oh, yeah, okay, so we've derailed what he had planned. Now let's see. I want it to be so seamless that it seems like, oh yeah, okay, so he somehow, Crispy was aware that we would do this completely different thing and he's ready for it. Not in the sense of, oh, we're still on the rails, because I have no idea what they're going to come up with. I just want to be good enough at that improvisation piece that it's just so smooth. That's what I'm looking for. Smooth, fast, smooth. Having a lot of fun as we look at these things. I'm very, very grateful for those of you that have subscribed so far. We're over 100 people subscribed. I think that's amazing. I'm just so excited about that. Meeting all sorts of new people, and it's been a real blast. I hope your games are going great. Like, I really do. Like, however you are playing, I hope they're great. I really do think that would be a wonderful thing if all of us could just be better at the hobby, however you're enjoying it. Now, I personally think, and I'm not, at the risk of sounding like I'm denigrating your style of play, I have played the role-playing games in the traditional way for a long time. I'm convinced now that being in character and really diving deep into the role-playing aspect of it, that's going to prevent all sorts of I was going to say burnout, but I think it's more than that. I think it's just the ennui that can set in and be like, oh, it's just the same thing again and again and again. But when my group is really into their characters, there's all sorts of fun, unexpected things that happen. So this is and I'm still relatively early on. I just as a fun thing, as I hit 100 subscribers, I'm like, how long have I been at this? It's been about 5 months, almost 6 months now that I've been posting these videos. And I have to say that in that period of time, in that 6-month period of time, more than in the last 16 years that I've been playing weekly, we've seen some pretty impressive changes in our game. It's been exciting to see. It's a bit of a renaissance. Seeing players really get into it again. Just as excited as they were when they first discovered it. Maybe even more so. because now they have a bigger tool chest. They've seen it from different angles, and we're still experimenting. We're experimenting with different game systems to see how that works. How some are perhaps more amenable to that type of play versus others. Having a great time and really excited about it. So I'd love to hear how you're experiencing these so far. What have you done for preparation, and how minimal can you get in preparation? I've never been a no prep game master. Never. I've always felt like I need to get something ready. It's a little. I have to say it's a little uncomfortable, but it's a good discomfort, because I can tell when I'm stretching a bit, because I can tell this is different. I wouldn't normally do this, but it's something new to try. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow night when we meet and have our weekly game. And who knows? It's possible that I'll come away from that saying, I'm not quite ready for that. I'm going to need to have a few more things prepared in advance. But the more I can move away from advanced preparation, the more that players can know that their decisions matter. And I want their decisions to matter, because then I think that's better. I really do. I know there's all sorts of, to railroad or to sandbox or what have you. I would maybe frame that differently. I would just say, I want you as a player to know that you are in control of what you can't control what happens after you act. But I will not force you to act. I will not put you in that place. I will not forcibly move you along. I want you to be engaged in whatever way you choose to be engaged. So anyway, that's my ramblings for tonight. Really appreciate you sticking around. If you've stayed around this long, please leave a comment and a like, and share this with your group. And maybe you have a game master that's trying to use their imagination a little more, trying to flex that pretend muscle and be a little more comfortable with the improvisation. Hey, give your game master a break if they're trying to do that. It's not easy to do. It's much easier to hide behind prep than just to let go of the reins. But well, that's what I had to tell you tonight. That's just sharing my thoughts as I sit here where I'd normally be madly preparing something, just thinking, just having some mood kind of music in the sci-fi realm, just playing in the background, just thinking about, well, what would be happening, and is there someone behind the scenes that might be interesting, and then just trying to open that imagination and get it going. So that's my video for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.